Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Hope you've had a good weekend, a great Sunday. In this video, we're going to talk about the potential for a big time pattern change like we have the last couple of nights. But I tell you what, the models went a little crazy today, especially the old King European model, showing multiple storm systems affecting the eastern U.S., including some southern solutions where some areas further south get some snow. So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to continue to try to figure this one out. I know I mentioned, a couple videos ago that I didn't want to talk this to death, but this is turning more into a reality. And I'm going to start off this video by showing you why very quickly. But this is looking like it's going to happen. And it's going to get favorable for a lot of people, especially as we get to the end of this coming week. I really think the end of this week, this weekend, is going to really be the beginning to this pattern change, and then we get really entrenched into it. Maybe not this week that we're in now, Sunday being the beginning of the week, but maybe next week as we get into the mid part of January. But this is looking favorable. This is probably one of the, if I was to see it now, it's probably one of the best looking patterns for everybody as a whole. If it was to come into friction, probably in a couple years. So I'm pulling for us people in the South who have not seen winter weather in several years, especially me in Columbia. I haven't really seen it in almost 8 years. In February would be 8 years, 2014. So that's what we're going to break down. If you guys have not subscribed, hit the subscribe button for me. Like the video if you like it. If you're feeling extra generous, there's an option to join my channel, which just helps me out monthly. I got 7 awesome members right now who have joined my channel. It's just a way to help out what I do to try to improve my setup and make things a lot more better for you guys, which I plan to do this year. I got links here, my Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Twitter, I am very active, so definitely give me a follow. I know not everybody's big Twitter people, but I'm very active on Twitter. I obviously can't make a weather update every 15 minutes, but on Twitter, I make one almost every hour, and I keep y'all very updated. So give me a follow on there. Follow me on my social media platforms. Thank y'all for the amazing support. Love you guys so much. The growth has been crazy the last 2 weeks. It really has, and y'all give me a platform to talk about what I love. So I thank y'all so much. And y'all guys got anything I can pray about, please put in the comments. There's a lot of people sick right now, so we definitely want to pray for them folks. My little girl's actually sick right now. So she's starting to feel a little better today, but she really got sick this morning. So any prayers is definitely appreciated for that. But let's get going here. We're going to start off quick. And guys, I want to mention, I'm going to show you what you want to see. Just stay with me in this video. And I know most of y'all just want me to show you, just show me the model runs that show snow at my house. Show me the snowfall accumulation map. I just want to see it. I'm going to show you everything, but keep in mind when I'm showing you these things, please do not look at them and say, oh, it's going to snow in 9 days at my house. These things change. I'll mention that over and over again, and I'll always reiterate that in all my videos when I'm showing you maps as far as snowfall accumulations. It's very important that you don't tell everybody and their brother that it's going to snow in 9 days from one model run. You don't do that. It's definitely a no-no in the weather world, and definitely it's not a shot at you guys, but don't be gullible enough to, when you see a map on Facebook getting shared, to full wholesale believe it, okay? These things change very often, but I do want to mention, let's start off here. The Climate Center, it's the National Weather Service, these are the professionals, are already pointing in that 8 to 14 day temperature range. What day range? That goes from 17th to the 23rd, which 17th being about 8 days out, and that's pretty far out, but already pointing out chances of below normal temperatures from the central to the eastern U.S. This is telling me when you get below average temperatures in the coldest climate-wise time of the year, and for many folks, even further south, that is cold enough temperatures for winter precipitation. You mix this with this next graphic, which is still the 8 to 14 day range for the precipitation outlook. It's calling for above average precipitation in the same time frame where there's a chance, in the same time frame and the same location where there's a chance for below average temperatures. You mix that with the fact that this is climate-wise the coldest time of the year, and someone maybe further south than usual might get some winter weather. So let's show y'all what a lot, the big reason why a lot of people probably clicked on this video, right? So I want to mention really quick, it's going to be very cold in the Northeast in the coming days, starting tomorrow, high temperatures tomorrow in the teens and single digits, but then we get into Sunday morning and highs highs for Tuesday, highs in the single digits, highs in the negatives. These are high temperatures Tuesday. So I want to mention this because this is going to be a dangerous Arctic quick shot that hits the northeast. Very, very cold temperatures. Be prepared for that in the northeast and the interior northeast, and even the mid-Atlantic. I mean, Washington, D.C., highs only in the 20s, very cold temperatures, and it'll be pretty cold across the southeast too. So let's start looking at the European model, which is the model that showed winter storm after winter storm today. So let's get going here. As we're getting into midweek, it's a pretty quiet week after this rain moves through the rest of the eastern seaboard overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. We get into about the Thursday time frame. We start to see some kind of storm system right here. Now, this is not showing slamming the northeast as a major winter storm. This is the same storm that showed on the GFS a couple days, yesterday around this time frame, showing a major nor'easter in the same time frame. I want to mention, we're not forgetting about this storm. This is right when we start to enter that favorable time period. Watch this if you're in New England, this storm system for Friday, because this could trend northwest, and this is going to be a powerful storm. Even if it doesn't affect the lower 48, it's going to be a powerful storm, a nor'easter, and a lot of winds. It's almost going to be like a mini tropical storm way out in the Atlantic. Talking about as far as winds, but this could trend northwest for you guys in the northeast. So watch this. This could potentially be a nor'easter, but we'll watch it right now. Not a ton of support, not as much support as yesterday, but we'll continue to watch that for sure. And here comes our winter storm showing up. Look at this. This is for the end of next weekend. This is showing snow in the Triad of North Carolina, snow in upstate South Carolina. This is a classic Miller B type setup where you have the transfer of low pressures and cold air damming setting up here. A big time snowstorm for Virginia. This cranks up here. Low pressure transitions to the coast, and then it brings snow through the entire state of about 75% of the state of North Carolina, then sets up an intense area of snow for Virginia. This is one operational run, guys. Please do not look at this and say, oh, it's going to snow. But this low pressure really slows down right here and continues to pivot snow all the way into overnight Sunday into Monday. That's just one solution. This is going to change overnight. Here comes another storm 48 hours later. Same setup, same look. Snow breaking out over the same areas. This is including South Carolina, upstate, and northern areas of Georgia. And then a little bit warmer of a storm. This goes a little bit further north and then turns into the potential for a big-time storm for the northeast. All this is ifs, right? And then the cold air drops in behind this. And then I guarantee you there's going to be another piece of energy behind this. This is going to be a parade of storm systems. The southern stream is going to get really amped up here with high pressure dropping down and troughs dropping down. We're going to start to see all kinds of fantasy runs. And what I want to mention here is this is going to be a setup here where you're going to have winter storms that pop up out of nowhere in the medium range. Medium range being anywhere between, I would say, 100 to 180 hours out. I would consider that around the medium range. And then all of a sudden they trend into the short range, and then all of a sudden they verify. So I'll mention this, and I want to say that because when we get in the GFS, you're not going to see much on the GFS. But these storms can virtually pop out of nowhere. Here comes a piece of energy Friday, and then here comes that big winter storm showing up on the European, only 156 hours out. This is around 6 days out. So snow showing up for South Carolina, North Carolina. This pivots on through. This is a big winter storm. As far as snowfall accumulations printing out with this, here comes the first storm. It shows a crazy amount of snow. Even in Greenville, Spartanburg, shows snow for you guys. And then the epicenter, you got a foot to 2 feet of snow showing up in central Virginia. And then you got another storm behind it that sets up that adds even more snow to the picture. You see how the snowfall accumulations spiked from this to this. This is another storm that moves through the same areas and adds more snow on the ground 48 hours later. I will mention this is going to change a lot, but if the European keeps showing the storm, eventually the GFS will, or vice versa. So this is something we have to really pay attention to over the next 48 hours. It really is, especially if it continues to show it. Overnight models are just as important as the ones at this afternoon. Look at the GFS. We'll start this off by here goes the system finishing off early this week and this weekend. We get into the middle of the week, it's quiet. Here comes that low pressure popping up right here. Strong low pressure. It gets pulled north here and gets very close, not near as close as the previous runs, but it gets kind of close to the northeast, but it turns into a major winter storm for areas like Nova Scotia and areas of eastern Canada. And then that moves through. But watch this storm. This is the same storm that the run prior for 12Z showed even closer. Prior to that, it was really close. And then obviously the run 24 hours ago showed a major winter storm for the northeast. This storm is only 5 to 6 days out, but the latest European and GFS really does not like the idea of this storm coming northwest. But I promise you guys, you need to watch this if you're in the northeast, because if this gets closer, this will be an all-out blizzard for areas of southern New England. It really would. But here we go. Here comes the weekend. The GFS is different with the energy, but it does show a storm system like it does the European. But it's definitely much different. It has a kind of like a lake's load that flows through here on the GFS. And that's a no-go if you want snow to the south. You don't want any low pressure is really becoming dominant when you're trying to get these pieces of energy to merge together. So it's more like a lake's load. This really just brings kind of like a clipper piece of energy through the northeast and mid-Atlantic, and really just turns into a rain backside snow kind of event for areas of really nobody except the mountains. But even in Texas, central Texas has a little bit of snow popping up. That moves through. You get that piece of energy through. And then I really think that you get about 8 to 9 days out, you get consistent cold air, cold January air that sets up. No Arctic outbreak, but consistent, just below average temperatures, which to me is good. If you want snow, you don't want a crazy Arctic outbreak that just gives everybody bone-chilling, dry, cold air. But here comes another storm about 240 hours out. There's a little piece of energy with it. Low pressure pops off. There's cold air nearby, but you know it's a little too late here. This pops into a major winter storm for areas of potentially major winter storm for areas of the northeast. Sorry, I'm speaking really fast, guys. And then check this out. This is when the cold air really drops down. This is getting into that January 22nd to 24 time frame. Arctic air mass doubles down here in the eastern U.S. and it shears out the storm, suppresses it. But this would be a major winter storm for areas just to the north. But that's what I'm trying to show you guys, is there's a lot of pieces of energy to the south, cold air nearby, and I'm telling you, we're going to see crazy fantasy runs, not just on the European. They're going to go back and forth. We're going to see some more on the GFS here in the coming days. This is an active time coming up, and I know you don't see anything crazy, but we're going to see crazy model runs coming up, I'm telling you. Icon, this only goes 120 hours out, but it does show that storm as we get into the latter part of this week. Here it is, that deepening low pressure, but it's definitely not close enough to be any kind of major winter storm for the northeast. And I'm thinking the reason it's kind of trending away is because there's actually a big, strong area of Arctic air that's been trending much colder towards the end of the week for the northeast, and that might act as a way to kind of push that storm away, kind of like when we get an Arctic air mass for the south and it pushes the energy a little bit too south, and we end up just getting Arctic cold air. But here's the ensemble mean through 360 hours out, which is about 15 days out. This is probably the most impressive snowfall mean this winter so far, and this is basically the EPS ensembles. Very stout signal for that for those two storms that show up on the operational run. And but you know, even the ensembles, they change back and forth, but this is the best run we've seen, definitely for areas in the mid-Atlantic points south all winter. I mean, you even got a half-inch mean in Columbia, South Carolina, a half-inch to an inch mean in Atlanta. And, for you folks in the mid-south and the deep south, western areas of the deep south, y'all could get a winter storm out of this pattern too, but I think this is going to be heavily favored for the eastern U.S. and coastal systems and things like that going forward here. As far as where the ridging and troughing is setting up, here comes that piece of the polar vortex is basically going to pivot through the northeast, provide Arctic air early part of this week. And then the troughing sets up, a storm signal shows up right here. But then again, you don't have a ton of consistent cold air yet. And then as we get into the latter part of the weekend, another storm system signal shows up, troughing right here where you have the blues and greens, and then more of a wholesale troughing sets up where you have the jet stream digging right here as we get into about 9 or 10 days out. Cold air's funneling in, the jet stream's diving down here. You get almost like you get big time ridging around Alaska. You have kind of a neutral NAO, you don't have a negative or a positive. You're not really going to have that really working in your favor, but I'm telling you, you got this Pacific ridging, this ridging over Alaska. It's called a negative EPO. And then you got the positive PNA, which is ridging out west. And then you have the big troughing over the central and eastern U.S. that just spells winter weather, especially when you get towards the end of the run. Tall ridging to the west, big troughing, meaning cold front to the central U.S. and eastern U.S. And yeah, this is a mega pattern for winter storms. As far as you're looking at the jet stream, when you look at this, basically look at these bright colors, if you consider that a bright color, but these colors that stand out like these reds and yellows and things like that. 200 millibars is basically kind of where the jet stream sets up, but you notice the southern stream starts to get very active right when you start to get these troughs digging in. You see these lines kind of buckling down like that. So that is troughing, setting up with the southern stream getting active. And what that means is you're having storm systems ride the southern stream, allowing for a lot of moisture down here, along with a cold air shot moving in. So you're going to have an active southern stream, which is what you need. As far as temperatures compared to average moving through here, we get into this weekend, a big area of cold air moves into the northeast, which I think might be pushing that storm signal away. But I'm telling you, just like the storm that happened a few days ago, this could trend northwest. And if it does, it would be a very impactful storm for the northeast. But look at these temperatures compared to average starting to get into next weekend. You had the much colder than average anomaly showing up 5 to 6 to 7 degrees below average. And then right when the temperatures begin to moderate, this is when the big pattern sets up. So I really think this weekend is going to be the tone setter. The beginning of the pattern. And I really think, especially for areas in the deep south, South Carolina, Georgia, I really think if I had to predict, I would say that we're going to miss on a big winter storm to the north again. But I think if we're going to get a winter storm, we're going to miss a couple times. And I think there might be a big chance a little bit later into the month. But, don't hold me to that. If you won't, that's fine. I'll eat crow if I'm wrong. I'm trying to be positive, but I'm trying to be realistic too. But, the end of the EPS ensembles shows cold for almost everybody. But this is monster Arctic air moving into the lower 48 for sure. I want to kind of show you the signal for the storm later this week. It's showing a lot of low pressure showing up here, but a lot of them are way off the coast. This is for Friday. This is that storm I've been talking about at the end of the week. But this is a deepening low pressure. This is going to be a strong low pressure, very strong winds, and just a classic nor'eastern type setup. I'm kind of worried about Nova Scotia with this system because y'all stick out much closer. But you notice all the members are pretty far from the coastline of the Northeast. They really are. They're not very close at all. But we'll see how this trends in the next 48 hours, especially. But that moves on over. Watch out, Nova Scotia and Newfoundland. All these L's are potential low pressures. I'm not saying you're going to have 50 low pressures out here. What I'm saying is this is basically an ensemble mean. This is all the potential areas of where the storm system can be. But right at the end of that, you get into Saturday and Sunday, another signal for a low pressure shows up. And this is when some more cold air gets in, but you also have a signal showing up around the lakes for a low pressure, which if you got low pressure way up here, you're going to get just rain down here. This will favor more of a clipper kind of setup and just snow for areas that normally get snow in January. But you try to look for a more dominant low pressure mean down here in the southeast, and sure enough, there is a signal for another storm system that moves through, and then we get past that, and then maybe some more signals for a low pressure that pops up. I'm telling you, it's very active times. I know this doesn't mean a whole lot to a lot of people, but look at this and take it as there is going to be a lot of storm systems with a lot of cold air getting around. So what I'm going to show you now, and then we'll wrap up this video here in the next 2 or 3 minutes. This is basically the EPS ensembles. It's about 50-51 runs put together, and different runs put together to create a mean. So basically, you know, I'm not going to try to count all these really quick, but this is basically, let's just say these are 20 runs here in Atlanta showing accumulating snow, even if it's a tenth of an inch of snow like this run. So 20 out of 51 runs show snowfall, and all these are averaged together to create a mean, and the mean all the way through January 24th is just shy of an inch of snow. But remember, when you're looking at this, you see this crazy 14-inch snowstorm right here for Atlanta. This is skewing all the smaller totals. So it really amplifies and increases that mean down here. So remember that when you're looking at things like this. But obviously, the only thing you need to look at when you see this, for Atlanta, for example, is there is a signal for wintry weather starting to show up in mid-month. So you see that Atlanta, you got a mean of around, at the end of the run, of almost an inch of snow. Columbia, a lot of signals are showing wintry weather. There's a big 6-inch, remember, here in the E26, E25 range. So there is an increased mean. This is actually more than the one overnight that I showed, so it's actually increased. That's a lot of members showing wintry precipitation for my location in Columbia. So if you're watching from South Carolina, you like that look. You really do. Look at Greenville. It increases big time, and that's probably because it showed 2 winter storms hitting the Greenville area. But that's a lot of support for wintry weather starting to show up around the January 16th, 17th time frame. Charlotte, same thing. Big signal here, 16th to 17th time frame. Got a 2 to 3 inch mean down there. Raleigh, Durham shows some monster systems, especially these first few runs here. But they all start around the 15th to 16th, and then you show another system right in this area right here around the 21st, 22nd. Richmond, Virginia, a lot of members, very strong signal. Washington, D.C., and we keep going here. If y'all want to pause the video for your specific area, it's hard to add every single town. They don't include every single town anyways, but obviously you get into New York, the members start going wild for a strong signal for a lot of snows. Boston's obviously the biggest here, but that's all I got, guys. We're going to really just probably continue to talk about this. I'll make little clips of a couple things, but honestly, the weather's going to get pretty quiet after this storm system moves through. I hope you guys are faring well in the Deep South. I've seen some videos of some tornadoes popping up in Mississippi and Alabama, so I hope you're doing well. But after this system that moves through overnight provides some rain for the Carolinas and the eastern U.S., it's going to get quiet, and all eyes are going to focus on this pattern change. So that's what we're going to continue to figure out, and we're going to try to talk it to death until it actually happens, especially for us folks in the Deep South who haven't seen snow in several years. But thank y'all for tuning in tonight. Appreciate all y'all, and y'all have a great start to your work week. God bless all y'all.